Okay, so if I were to say that I was excited about this movie, I think I'm like even more excited because we have a captive audience that really resonated with the movie. So, I have some great questions. First of all, another lead actor that's pretty, because there are no ugly actors.
Yes, there.
So let's talk.
Yes, there are. I can give you.
Hello.
Not
They call me an actor.
Well, okay,
So.
excluding her. She doesn't count. She doesn't qualify for that category. But I could name you probably 20 famous ones.
Ooh, look at that.
But I won't do that. I won't do that because we have things called social media. But there's
Yes.
But anyway. Yes.
But honestly, we do have a very pretty couple on both sides of the fence
Yeah.
here. So let's talk about your male counterpart. First of all, I know that he's a model. Like,
Yeah.
dang, she got a model for her film?
Yeah.
How'd that happen?
So I was on the hunt to look for a male co-star in the city at the time. I was working, and my best friend came with me. So we were going up to random guys asking them, do you want to do a film? You know, do you want to audition? And, you know, we got a lot of no's. And then Joey was coming out of a market, and I was like, I'm tired of this. I don't want to do this anymore. So my friend's like, no, Lexus, let's try him. I was like, well, then you go do it. So she goes up to him and asks him if he would love to audition, and he was like, sure, where is it? Like, when and where? And I did not know at the time that Joey was a model. I didn't know anything. I was just like, okay, you'll meet with us? He was like, yes. So he probably met with us later that day. He read the script, and he was like, hell yeah, I'm gonna do this. Like, he was like down to do it. Yeah, so that's how we got him on board. And we did this as a play and then a film.
Very nice. Now, because it started off as a play and then turned into a film, talk a bit about that process, because it's not very often that a filmmaker does that. I mean, we saw a filmmaker last night that used poetry, turned it into a film, which is one format in and of itself. So, transitioning from play, I almost want to believe, because I've written plays myself, plays to some degree are much easier to do versus film. So, talk a bit about when you decided to transform from one genre to another one. How was that working out for you? Did you enjoy the filmmaking process more than the play side of things?
Well, I started out training as an actress on stage. Then I went to directing. So I spent many years directing. But the tidbit that I'm going to say with her is that this is how this happened, because I teach acting, so she was my student. This was her graduation. So this is like her showcase. So that's why we started off with a play. So what ended up happening is she showed me a particular video that was somewhat similar, but it was a totally different story. So I saw that, got inspired, said I'm going to write a completely different story with her in mind. I had no idea that she was going to find joy. However, that was her assignment, is to go find somebody. I told her, you have to go find somebody who you would be attracted to. So when we get on stage,
I think the world would be attracted to.
yeah.
Hello?
But it was authentic. It was part of her exercise to go out. I said, just go out and find somebody who you would sit across in a bar and you do that with.
Yeah.
And so when she did that, by the time she brought him in, he brought in all these different vibes. His hair was longer, and it was interesting because in terms of the stage process, the first guy that we did, and I did a couple of people, but the one guy that we brought in, he liked it, but he kept wanting to change the character because he thought the character was racist. And I was like, well, I didn't write him that way. That's not what I wrote. It's just, I said, why do you think he's racist? So he didn't work out because he was just so afraid. And I thought, okay, is this my first thought was, oh no, is that what all the white guys are going to think? I said, but I don't want to change this character because I know what I'm doing with this character. So we ended up with Joey, and I thought, well, you know, Joey is Canadian, maybe that's different. So we went on stage with it, and the difference is on stage you can see everything at once. It's not just that shot, this shot. You see everything happening. You see everybody in the bar, you see them interacting. So the real challenge is you have to pay attention to them. Are they going to stand out with the crowd? And so once we were on stage and we were in a competition, and I think we placed second.
Yeah.
Placed second. And I thought, I think I can make this into a film. But it took me about another 7 to 8 months for me to find the right bar, which took, I just walked into the bar and I said, this is the bar. So a lot of negotiation there. And So the bartender in this film is actually the owner of the bar, and he ended up being an acting student of mine too. So that worked out. So that process, that smoothing over process was, I knew I had something because when they simply acted it out with nothing, like if they were to act it out here, people still got the same reaction. So I said, okay, we can do this. So it was a matter of me figuring out shots, color, what it looked like at night, things like that. And I knew that we had something. I knew I could do it with the right camera, because my cinematographer, who is a absolute phenomenon, because he came in with this nice Sony camera, and I just was, you know how you just, you know, so he was able to do that. And the guy behind him, behind Joey, the whole time you see this guy behind Joey, right, just talking. Well, he's the lighting guy, and they were just talking. So the good news is that was, I can't really say that one process is easier than the other. I think it's just different mediums.
Sure.
And if you know the different mediums, then you can do exactly the same thing, only just differently because of the way you shoot.
You touched base on something that we talk about a lot when we talk to actors that turn into filmmakers or even filmmakers themselves. I don't think they really appreciate the fact that it is a whole lot of give me, that process of, oh, I knew a student here, they own a place here, they do this here, et cetera, et cetera. So did that make the process easier, meaning you were able to speed up? I know how long it took you to find the location, but once you found everything, was it zip, zip? Because I imagine when watching this, it's a lot of improv. Actually, it's all improv, obviously. So, and you have one setting there, so you're not going location to location. So did that help you kind of speed things up a little bit for the final product?
Well, it took one night for us to do that. We did that in one night. And yes and no. I mean, once we found it, we had to, you know, decide on the date, because the bar is not going to close down unless you purchase, right? So we had to work with the actual patrons. And we had to, the optimal thing to do is wait until very late when most of them are going home. And so a lot of the patrons didn't mind. Like the guy who you saw eating chicken wings, I was like, look here, bro, if you could just continue to eat your chicken wings, just drink your beer, you're just in the shop, sign here. And a lot of people agreed to do that. So it was like, it is the business and administration of trying to get that done took a little bit of time, and then you had to grab everybody. I wanted it to be diverse. I didn't necessarily want him just in a black bar, because it's like, oh, what is he doing there? You can be there, but what is he really doing there? I needed it to be diverse because, yeah, I mean, there are many bars that are like that, and so you needed to have that story happen. I didn't want it to necessarily be that. I just wanted it to be a love story that took place in a diverse place, but you know that, yes, there is a racial difference. But then, not because of where he is, but because of just the biological fact that she's black and he's white.
Right.
That's the thing. So, I mean, no, we did shoot the film twice. Because the first time we shot it, the crew wasn't as skilled and as cooperative, and they didn't have the proper lighting. They didn't know what they were doing. So when I looked at it, of course I cringed, and I was like, I'm just not going to do this. So once I got a much better cinematographer, I knew, matter of fact, that night when I shot it, when we all gathered around and said hurrah, I'm like, yay, we're going to shoot this again, and I'll break the news to them on Sunday.
Yeah, we shot it, I think, in January or something.
Yeah, and I knew I was going to have to shoot it again, so I just ended up shooting it, but it was much better, less people. But it was nice because we had, sometimes less is more. The less people you have, with quality and skill, the better your film experience is going to be.
Yeah.
Because and you mentioned that it was improv. No, they didn't improv that.
Really?
It was written.
Okay.
And then I was on the microphone telling them exactly what they had to do. Some things were
Nice.
improv.
Okay.
Some things were improv. Like I had to tell her, she had to use whatever I was teaching her to do that.
Gotcha.
And he had to use whatever I was telling him to do. But like when she's on the floor, I'm telling her, yes, wipe the floor fast, slow, then move your body.
It was so embarrassing.
Then be, all right, everyone laugh at her.
Oh my God.
So the entire time I'm directing on the microphone.
I would have never guessed that. Honestly, I just thought it was all complete improv, and I was like, oh my God, check this out. Because he really is so good about the way he's cutesy and funny at first,
he's a
and then he gets,
model.
I know.
Yeah, he
I
can do that.
just blown away. I'm like, oh my God.
But as a model, he can do that because he's used to taking pictures of it.
Right.
Put it this way, when we were rehearsing it in private, they did a lot of improv, and then what I would do, I would film it. I'd have a camera like that, and I would film it, and then I would adjust based on their chemistry. I had to do exercises with them to make them develop a real chemistry. It's one thing to look at somebody and be attracted to them, but it's another thing to really create it. Because on stage they were, in rehearsal they were close. I had to make sure that, go sit on his lap. I had to make sure that they could have it up close. So when I spread them apart, you would know that that chemistry was there no matter what. You wouldn't have to do any guesswork in a crowded room. So I did. I had to write down, Lexus walks into a bar. He looks at her. He does this, he does that. And then they had to add the emotion to it as I was directing them. But that's the easy part. There's no sound. So I can talk all I want, and sound was not an issue for me.
Let's flip to the acting side of things. So wow, this is an experience. You got somebody like talking in your ear, you're looking at this guy, you've got all this different stuff going on. So talk to me a bit about preparing for this experience, because the last actors we talked about in terms of, it's like he just slipped onto the set, did it, and that was done. So did this take more work for you? Because obviously this is new for you.
Yeah, because it was my first short film. And yeah, I was I was self-conscious. I was like, oh my God, how is it gonna look on camera? Like the angles in my hair and makeup. I'm a woman just thinking about how I'm gonna look. And just being, because like she said, before we did it in film, we did it in theater. So me and Joey have rehearsed it. So he still, till this day, when he looks at me, I'll be like, hi, Joey. I still do that. So to bring that out while everybody was watching was challenging. And I had to get it in my head, like, this is a part of the job. Like, just fall in love with him like you did before, and
it'll be all good.
It'll be
Same
all
thing,
good.
basically.
But yeah, taking directions from Natasha, and then just like memorizing what she wrote down for us to do, because we did it in the theater. So just bringing it back onto the set and just doing it again. But yeah, it wasn't difficult. It was just like being comfortable with everybody watching.
Oh, sure. I noticed the hair selection is far different. I'm surprised you didn't film her like this. I mean, this is lovely. Not that it's fine on the film, but you know what I mean? This is seductive and long, and I'm thinking to myself, does this make sense to you? Because I'm kind of looking at him, and I'm looking at her, and now I'm looking at her now, and I'm like, hello? I'm like, she should look like this.
No, I mean, you know what, but first of all, Alexis can do this because she's extraordinarily beautiful, so she can have like an array of hairstyles. But her hair in the film, no, I told her, you have to have an afro to match your shirt.
Oh, yeah.
So,
that's
but
true.
it's going to be a fashionable thing, because also just amongst black women, just having all types of styles, where you see an afro puff, you see my locks, you see her braids, all of those are just hairstyles that we wear, right? So by the time she took off the jacket, it all just kind of comes together. So
absolutely.
So at first you see it's just a hairstyle, and she has the hat, and she looks very eclectic and very, woke and cute. But then by the time she takes off the jacket, it goes into another aspect of who she is.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of statements being made in this movie, without, obviously. I think the legs were brilliant. I never saw that coming. I was like, oh shit moment. I'm like, she did not just do that. Look at that. Look at that. That was brilliant. Where'd you come up with that? Because I'm smart, but I ain't that smart.
Well, again, in the original video that she brought to me that I saw, I said, okay, well, this is his character. So I wanted to take it in a different direction. People with disabilities are not looked at or expected to have political statements or views or anything.
Yes.
So I said, that's the difference, is making assumptions. I also have a brother with special needs, but he was extraordinarily genius. The interesting thing with Joey is I said, good, I want you to get him as good looking as possible, because no one will ever expect that he can't really walk, because it's about the assumptions. This is a movie about assumptions. It's like, no, they think he's good looking, he has it all together, He's Brad Pitt. What issues could he possibly have? She's beautiful. He's assuming these things about her. She's beautiful, blah, 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 blah. But no one's expecting her to be deaf. So that's that's the one thing that they have in common. Everything else is different and at the opposite ends. Everything else is different. So I wanted it to be, and plus I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure the audience was like, why isn't he getting up? Why doesn't he walk over to her?
Absolutely.
Why doesn't he help her? That's what I wanted. I wanted everyone to be annoyed and to be, or if you weren't annoyed, you were just wondering. You were just,
Go get her.
Go get her. And I wanted to just show that that is the contrast between what happened to him when he put the crutches on, as opposed to when she walks into the bar and sits down, he goes from being insecure, which a lot of people, he's alone, he was insecure, but then when she walks in, he suddenly turns into, hi, I'm Cary Grant, hey, I'm this, Brad Pitt. And then at the end, suddenly he's back to being this. So that's what it was. I wanted to create this dichotomy that people assume because he's so good looking, but then, and so when he saw her, with the sign language, he suddenly, he changed his whole tune. And the whole idea of him being turned off by the shirt, it's like, no, it's not because he's racist. It might be, look, if you're in a bar, most guys will attest to this. My guy friends tell me this. If something looks difficult, I like you, but that looks like it's going to be a problem. So he pulled back from something that might be difficult for him to overcome. In his mind, now that you understand, he already has the leg situation, so why is he going to go after all of that? I'm like, so no, I can't, And so the sign language gives him a pass to go after her. Because if he was racist, he wouldn't have gone.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I have to ask, because of course you're like blowing things away here. Every time I turn around, you got accepted here, you've gotten accepted here. So how many so far?
This was 6.
Where are you headed next?
As soon as I hear from somebody, I'm extraordinarily proud that other people see that it's a good film. I actually felt good, even without the music. I said, this is really a good film. It looks good. It feels good. I'm hoping whoever says yes to us and they want to see it, and I want to say to you guys that you're one of the best audiences we've had, because we've had a mixture of audiences. We had black, white, international audiences. So my thought was, what is the demographic of my audience? I'm trying to figure it out. It's everybody, but the one thing about this audience that's really great is that, first of all, it's nice and intimate in here, and you guys are watching it and being touched by it. In a lot of screenings that we've had, you might have this humongous room, and maybe 2 or 3 people in there. You might have just certain types of people in there, and then we've had others where it's been, very nuanced and very cultural and very crowded. But this right here we were just talking about how different it is, because some festivals are very commercial, and you're just kind of, everybody feels like they're Steven Spielberg, what have you. But this,
Aww.
we hope that the next one is like this.
Yeah.
That's what we hope.
That's like an official prop for the festival.
Yes.
Yay! I needed that.
Yeah, no, really, because
prop.
it's very nice. It's nice to just look at your faces and to see that you guys are really receiving the film. And we're just trying to get it out there. And I was telling her, I said, I want to see what people really think of this film. Do they get the story? And it's an homage to silent films. That was the other thing. Right before I wrote the script, I love Charlie Chaplin. I love him. I love Charlie Chaplin, Buster Keaton. So I was like, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a Charlie Chaplin film. I'm going to just make it modern. I'm going to make it funky. I'm going to do all this stuff. But that's what I wanted to do. Because I also saw the genius in the homage and the acting. I was like, of course you can do this. Of course you can do a silent film. That's the beauty of silent film. Words, and I'm yapping, but words we pay attention to dialogue so much that we can forget that so much of the story can be told in the eyes and the body language of somebody else. So that's where I also got that, Plus, like I said, the original video that she sent me, that also had no words too. So when I saw that, I was like, okay, this is how we're gonna do it. We're gonna do a love story that's completely silent.
So because we're all about shameless promotion, what's going on next besides the obvious big movie here? What's going on with career?
So me, I'm looking for an agent.
Well, you got a few actors in this room that might be able to help you with that.
Yeah,
Including my actor.
I'm looking for an agent because I'm like, I know I could do this.
Get a publicist. No, they hate it because I do PR. So I'm like, I'm all about the PR folks, and they're like, no, and I'm like, yes.
Yeah,
PR.
that's my next thing.
Just call me. Call me if they don't help you. I'll help you. So you need an agent. We don't have a new project? Would you do a one-woman show? 'Cause I'm casting for a one-woman show.
I would.
They're already, see?
I did a second short film with another director, and that got into a festival in April, and he's still waiting, I guess, to hear back. But I did another short film. I did some theater last year, but I haven't done any this year. I've just been doing auditions.
Time to go back to the theater.
Yeah.
You're wonderful. You should do something.
I'm looking for something. Just
We'll find you something. What about you, young lady?
I just finished a documentary film.
Oh, God. God love you.
And I've got 2 short films that I am developing right now and getting ready to shoot.